Oh, if you only knew how technically challenged I was. Yeah, you do. Oh, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Vaughn. In the back. Is this too much? Is this too loud? Overpowering myself here. Well, I want to chat with you a little bit about the Divine Fellowship here. And on your calendars, on the back of your calendar, you can see that it has our mission and all that stuff. Phil and I, we used to take walks out at Two Rivers Park. And it was a lovely little park, and we would do a lot of talking while we were out there. And so, you know, you could go this way or you could go that way. So it's just always different, the changing of the seasons. And sometimes we would use that opportunity to grumble and complain. Not that you would ever. I'm sure you never do that. But we would grumble and complain about, it shouldn't be that way. Life should be this way. And one of the things that we would grumble and complain about was that church should be more like church camp, less like church. Because church was full of guilt and shame, and you have to do it a certain way, and if you don't do it that way, then it's wrong, and this church says they're the only ones going to heaven, and that church says they're the only ones going to heaven. And, you know, somebody's got to be wrong. Unless, of course, they're not, but whatever. So we got that, we were just frustrated with that sort of thing. And Phil and I, we were pretty conditioned to going to church. And we joined a lay pastor's group. And so all of a sudden, when we joined that group, we went to the first meeting. And the meeting said, you must attend every service. And you must join one of the little mini groups. And you must give. And oh, by the way, we need to know how much you're going to give so we can plan the rest of our year around what you're going to give. So we have to have a commitment from you about your giving. What else was it was just this laundry list of have-tos. And Phil and I didn't go back to church the next Sunday. Never talked about it. We just didn't go. The next Sunday came along and we just didn't quite get ourselves together then that way either. And then the next Sunday came along and, you know, about 4, 5, 6 Sundays later, we decided to, we're not going to church anymore. And, you know, I can't make myself go. I can't make myself go either. Why? Why can't we go? We used to love it. Because everything became a duty. Everything that we had done out of the joy and love of our hearts now was a duty. And let's face it, there's nothing more plastic than being greeted at the door of, welcome to the church. We are so happy to see you. Please have a nice day. Sit down wherever you'd like. Welcome to this church. Thank you for being here. Please sit down. Have a nice day. You know, when it's duty, it takes the love out of it. And we just thought, heck with that stuff. If it ain't fun, we're not doing it. Right? So then we got to thinking, I wonder, what would happen if we just got together a bunch of people that thought like we did? Oh, well, there's nobody that thinks like we do. We're kind of weird. We're special. We're just weird. We don't, nobody thinks like us. So we thought, well, I don't know. So every time we were walking Two Rivers Trail, we would talk about this. Well, what would it take if we started a group of our own? Well, I'm not starting a group of our own. Well, what would it take if we did? So Phil decided, well, you know, let's see what the IRS code. Well, we'll talk to an attorney. See how you start a church. Well, I didn't know. They knew how to start a branch, but they didn't know how to start a church. So Phil had to research the IRS. Oh my gosh, have you ever done that? Bless you, Phil. Because he did all of that. And it was like, well, if we did, what would that look like? And who are we? Who are we? We're just Joe Blow average schmucks that are just struggling along, doing our own thing. You know, who are we to start a church? And then about that time, we were just walking along, whining and complaining, praying, asking God, what do you want? What do we do? this feather spiraled out of the sky and landed right in front of me. It was an owl feather. And Phil picked it up and he handed it to me. He says, "Look, honey, it's a sign." It was like the coolest thing ever. Because I was like, oh gosh, what is that? And I think the message we got from that was, you'll be taken care of. Just do the next right thing. Try it. If it doesn't work, you don't have to do it. Just try it, see what happens. And so we thought, well, okay, we'll just try it. If nobody shows up, we're done, right? Easy peasy. So we bought communion trays and we bought a contribution basket, and so we thought, well, we'll just play at church and see what that looks like. Had 18 people the first Sunday. It was awesome. We didn't know what the heck we were doing. Phil put CDs in a little CD player, and we met out at Choices and Changes, which is up by the river. And so we had to carry this really heavy sign. Phil, we'd drive up and stop the car, and Phil would put this sandwich board sign out, and we'd go in and we have to rearrange the chairs because we use their conference room, and so it was always a different way than we wanted to have it, so we had to fix that. And they had cats running through. The cats would just get up and lay on the communion table and just lay there and watch us. We thought, when we moved to this location, it was like, well, actually the other location, we have to have a cat. So we've had a church cat ever since, kind of a tradition. But you know, I think the Divine Fellowship kind of has grown itself. Phil and I had an idea or a dream of, wouldn't it be wonderful if there was a sacred place where people could feel safe to discover and explore their own spirituality, whatever that might look like for them. I have to tell you a story. One of our members said she sat like this for 4 weeks. What are they going to tell me to believe? I have to see what they're going to say. You know, if I can buy it, I can stay. But if they're going to tell me something I can't buy, I can't stay. About 4 weeks later, she goes, you know what? They're not going to tell me what to believe. I guess I can stay. Because we don't care what you believe, we care that you believe. And this is a structure, a support system for you to have the opportunity to do that self-exploration, whatever that looks like for you. Whatever that looks like for you. I think the hardest part of the Divine Fellowship has been watching people come and go. Because, you know, if you need something, call. But if you don't need anything, we're not going to call you. And sometimes people just, well, you should have been there for me, or you should have done this, or you should have done that. You know, it's okay. Tell me what you need. Tell Phil what you need. People go in the hospital. If you call us and tell us, we'll be there. If you don't call us, we won't. It's your choice. It's all about choice. It's all about choice. Because we believe the greatest gift God gave humanity was power of choice. The power of choice. And how dare us take your choice away from you? So you have choice. If you don't show up for weeks on end, it's okay. We're going to assume, unless you tell us differently, we're going to assume you're meditating on a mountainside, or you've got your feet propped up and you're watching the sacred channel of fishing, you know. Church of the Ever-Nibbling Trout, you know. So that's the blanket assumption. If things are not okay in your world, please let us know. Please tell us. And if we can be of service, we will. If we can't help you, we can't. But just let us know. Because here's the deal. If I try to call you and say, where were you Sunday? Where's your contribution? Then I've taken your choice. I have no right to do that. The foundation of the Divine Fellowship is respect and appreciation for wherever you are. So where does that leave us? Wherever you want it to be. Wherever you want it to be. I think the hardest thing, again, people coming and people going, it's been hard to see some people leave. And some people come back, and that's wonderful. People leave because they move. Huh, Bev? This is Bev's last Sunday. She's moving, and it's hard for us to say goodbye. But that's part of life, is change. We can't hold on to what is, because without change, then where are we? But there are some immutable facts that aren't going to change. And the immutable facts are, we try to base ourselves on truth, with a big T, capital T. And there's some big T's that no matter what religion you look at, they will hold them to be true. That there is a loving source out there that loves you and wants what's best for you, and wants to help you, wants to support you, wants to be here for you, wants to connect with you. And then there's the little T's. For me, the little T is, I really Jesus is my guy. But that's my truth. It doesn't have to be your truth, but it's certainly my truth. And I'm going to honor what you believe. You don't have to believe that. Now, for me, in my life, that's a big T. But in your life, it might not be. And that's okay. It gets to be okay. So wherever your journey takes you, we're hoping that the Divine Fellowship is a part of that. We heard it said, who was it that said, I can't remember who it was, that for some people the Divine Fellowship is the stepping stone, and for others it's the sacred pool. Dive in if you feel like it. And maybe this is just a stepping stone for you to do whatever you need to do next from here, and that's okay. We've been called the funky little church, the happy little church. What are some other things that people have called us? I can't remember. The woo-woo church. What was that? Recess with God. So whatever works for you works for us. This is your choice. We're just holding sacred space for whatever your spiritual journey looks like. When Phil and I first decided we were going to do this, it's like, what are you thinking? I don't know. We still can't figure that part out. But anyway, we would talk to people and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. They go, oh, it'll never work. It'll never work. You can't get people of different faiths in the same room at the same time. No, can't have it. They were wrong. Yes, you can. When we focus on the big truth of love and light and joy, everything else is just stuff. Everything else is just stuff. And here's the deal. You get to be very impassioned about what is important for you, your big T. And that's way okay with us. As long as you can allow somebody else to be very impassioned about what's okay for them. And that's what it's all about, is that spiritual support system. Because here's the deal. I don't know about you, but I've changed my mind more than once. And I've thought, this is how it is in lots of ways. And then have life happen to me and go, I got to rethink that. And as soon as I can rethink something, and I've changed my mind, was I wrong before? Or just didn't have enough the same information? And who's to say that I'm not wrong now? Because the information I have may not be sufficient and complete. So who am I to tell you you're wrong? I can't do that. I may disagree, agree to disagree, but there's no right, wrong, good, bad. It is what it is. And it's hard to do a spiritual journey. I think the hardest part is this noodle head here, because the noodle head is saying, you should have done that better. Why didn't you do it this way? Do you have a little noodle head voice that does that to you? Whatever you do, it's I think spiritually is that wonderful place where we can go into that sacred space and say, shut up. Let me do my deal. Doing the best I can. Because nobody else is going to criticize you. Suit up, show up, you're here. Yay! Woohoo! Did you do it perfectly? I don't know. If you got your shoes on the right feet, then we're good to go, aren't we? Let's get our priorities straight. Matching socks. So let me walk you through a guided meditation, if I may, please. This is Healing Sunday.